right, what up, everybody? Welcome to the morning show on Stock Market TV. A lot going on. A busy day today. You know we're going to talk about Microsoft and AMD and Boeing. And we have a little Fed thing today. I know not everyone cares about the Fed at 2 o'clock, but some people do. So we'll talk about that. We'll tease a little thing we're doing later on this afternoon that's related to the Fed. So it's going to be fun. Willie Delwiche will stop by at 9. We'll have Kenny Glick. We'll have mornings with Mary, as we do every Wednesday. So that's the plan. Good morning, chat. Give me a thumbs up if you're good to go. I'm good to go. JC and Steve are good to go. Let's go.
Oh, it's a glorious day, Mr. Strazza. Why don't you tell the folks why today is such a special day?
Let me guess, because of the Powell?
That's exactly it.
Right?
Boog Powell, the former first baseman for the Baltimore Orioles?
Don't know him.
That's right.
Today is the last day of the month, ladies and gentlemen. So what that means is, it's like Christmas and Hanukkah and Valentine's Day and Thanksgiving all boiled into one nice chart session.
When is the call this month?
Doing the conference call tomorrow night for premium members of All-Star Charts, but I got my night cut out for me this evening, getting ready. Tomorrow morning, I'll be crushing monthly candlesticks charts. We'll talk about some of them tomorrow, as a matter of fact. Some of the ones that stand out. I'm not gonna lie. I did a little peeking. Things are looking pretty good out there. Pretty good. I know I'm one day early here, but things are looking pretty good out there. So, ladies and gentlemen, I say this every month. If you listen to nothing I say ever, listen to this one. Get the most important ticker symbols in the world, whatever they are to you. If you don't have a list, email me. I'll send you my list, right? It'll get you 95% of the way there. Get the most important ticker symbols. The most important stock market indexes, S&P, Dow, NASDAQ, Russell 2000. Get some of the global stuff. German DAX, Nikkei, right? Maybe emerging markets, China, whatever you think is most important. Go through the sectors, financials, industrials, healthcare, technology. Go through them. There's only 11. It's not a big deal. Get some bellwethers in there. JP Morgan, Freeport-McMoran, Mickey D's, Amazon, Tesla. Like, get some of the most important names for this market. JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, right? Get those in there. Add those to the list. Interest rates, gold, crude oil. Like, this isn't that hard, right? The dollar, like the most important ticker symbols. And once a month, just go through all of them, right? It's really gonna bring you back to the underlying trend. And the reason that's so important is because we know for a fact that asset prices trend. We know they're not random. That's why technical analysis works. Because what are we doing? We're looking for trends, right? And this one very simple, very easy to do practice once a month is so valuable and goes such a long way in getting you to accomplish that goal, which is identifying the direction of primary trends. Right? That's it, right? How'd I do?
You're getting good at this.
I've said that once or twice.
Yeah.
I'm telling you guys. By the way, Stock Market Mike talking about JC's reaction to the Fed. You're going to get it today, boy. Ooh. You know what I'm doing? I'm doing legs. I'm doing legs at 12:30 with Maggie. So I'm going to hit legs hard. I'll be back here about 20 minutes before they drop. Is it like a ball drop? Is it like New Year's Eve, Spencer? How does it work for the Fed?
Yeah, they do a countdown and the ball drops in Times Square, and then Jerome Powell says interest rates.
Nice. All right. Well, I'm looking forward to that. I'm going to hit legs hard before. You like my strategy, Strazza?
Yes,
strategy,
I do.
Right?
I do. Guys, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here with Japan today. You see the yen?
Have I seen the yen? Mr. Spencer Israel, shall we?
Yeah, BOJ did some stuff overnight, but so a lot going on. All right.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have one hell of a morning this morning. NASDAQ 100 futures are up 2 That is almost 400 points this morning for the NASDAQ 100. That's a big move. That's a big move. I can't remember the last time that the NASDAQ 100 was up 2% pre-market. Some of you historians out there or quick mathematicians, can you please send that over? When was the last time that the NASDAQ 100 futures were up 2% pre-market? Strazza? I can't remember. S&P 500 futures not too far behind, up over 1% and change. 55.35 for the S&P 500 here on the last day of the month. How about that? Dow futures hanging in there, up almost 100 points as well. Nowhere near, granted, the Dow's been showing a ton of relative strength lately, so the Dow not up anywhere near what the NASDAQ or the S&P 500 are up nonetheless. Bond futures up a little bit as well with that yen move that Strazza was just talking about. 30-year bond futures above 120.5. Yes, Strazza.
Interesting volatility now in both directions because the NASDAQ 100 just registered its worst day since 2022, not long ago, a couple sessions ago. And now it's on pace to have its best day in almost a year, since August of last year.
Still don't have the stats. When was the last time the NASDAQ 100 was up 2% pre-market? If you guys can find that, that'd be great. Meanwhile, crude oil futures, Steve Strazza, crude oil, 3.5%. Do we have a day?
It's not that uncommon.
It probably wasn't that long ago, JC.
Yeah. I can't remember. I just want a day. It's not a big deal.
It was probably like a few months ago.
Crude oil up 3.5%, 77.5. Copper, finally. Thank you, Copper, for showing up. Copper, big moves today, up over 2%, 417. Couldn't break that 4 level. That's a big one. Gold futures, up 0.5%, 24.65 for gold. That keeps heading higher. Silver up as well, full percent, back to 29. Volatility index still at 16.5 for the VIX. Elevated volatility remains. Bitcoin doing nothing in the face of all of this action. Bitcoin 66,000 flat on the day. Ethereum up 1% on the day, 3,300. Solana, the relative strength remains 182 for Solana, up 1.5%. Binance continues to struggle, still under 600, 585 flat on the day for Binance. Total crypto market cap, Spencer Israel, 2.33 trillion, with the Bitcoin dominance right at 56%. So that remains pretty constant there. So nothing from the funny money. TradFi going wild.
Did someone leak the Fed decision? Like, did the FOMC press release get leaked? Is it me, or is the market moving right now as if the Fed already made their decision? Look at everything. Look at copper, gold. Look at the currency markets.
I don't know.
10 years hitting a new low.
Well, first of all, I want to get to the yen, but I have something a little strange maybe yesterday. So there's this guy, he wrote a good book once back in the day called Confessions of a Street Addict. Highly recommend it. Written a long time ago. Throw up slide 2 there, Spencer. Confessions of a Street Addict. Great book, right? It was written by Jim Cramer.
Yeah.
I don't know if I don't know what he was on yesterday. Maybe he's tweeting out that people are shooting at everything. They're shooting at everything first and then asking questions later. It is pure panic out there. This is
all right. Note at the time of that tweet, that was at 4:14, right?
Yes.
Yesterday. A lot of people, and it's okay to admit it in the chat if this was you too, saw that massive red candle on Microsoft at 4 o'clock last night, right? Basically from 4 to 4:10. And they were freaking out. So
you know what was interesting? Speaking of freaking out, so this man right here freaking out. I don't really know why. In a day where people were freaking out, like you said, Mr. Spencer, and this gentleman here, Mr. Kramer, also freaking other people out. The advanced decline line on the New York Stock Exchange was up yesterday. Yeah, the list of new 52-week highs was up yesterday. The percentage of stocks on the New York Stock Exchange above their 200-day moving average was up yesterday. The Dow, Russell 2000, all up. And people just very scared, being nasty at one another.
It makes total sense why it feels like there might be panic out there, right? The most owned stocks are selling off day in and day out. They're selling the rips and things like Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google. Saw it again last night. I think today, this price action could be huge. Looking at the AI stocks this morning, AMD, Micron, Dell, They're all up pre-market. If they could dig in here and rebound, hold these support levels, I think that'd be big. But the Mag 7 seems to be a whole different set of issues right now. For me, just looking at the price action in Microsoft, expectations are too high for some of these stocks. If they're selling this report, expectations they ran away a bit. So maybe these stocks all need to be repriced, and that usually comes with some sideways price action.
Yeah, it just seemed very strange, this man yesterday. Can we throw up slide 3, please? I hate to keep harping on this, but now that Strazza is on the old healthcare bandwagon, I just want to remind everybody that the largest component of the world's most important stock market index keeps going out at new all-time highs. Is that a bad thing for the market? Does your math equate that this is a bad thing for the market? Anyone want to chime in?
I think an argument could be made that it's risk off or defensive. Yeah.
Got it. So the largest component of the world's most important stock market index going up could be a negative for the market. You think that's right?
So what is this?
And that's not psychotic at all, right?
The fact that it's the largest stock means it's not defensive. I don't understand the logic.
I don't know about defensive or offensive. I'm looking at the largest stock in the world's most important stock market index making new all-time highs again and again after doing nothing for 2 years.
What you're saying is that
do you consider that a negative for the broader markets, or is that a positive for the broader markets?
You could do this from home. Just do UNH SPY and look at what the relative trend looks like, and then overlay the S&P 500, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
Are you saying, Mr. Strazza, saying...
You've had this argument. I've shown you the chart. You've admitted I was right, and I'm not really trying to have
Are you saying that we're not talking about a relative basis. We're talking about an absolute basis. United Healthcare making new all-time highs. You're saying that's not a good thing for the stock market? Is that what you're saying? I don't think you're going to say that. I think it's too early. I think it's too early.
Yeah.
Because I beat up people like you on the way to a fight, right?
Right.
That's how this works.
So
I got a chart for you guys, right?
We have so many earnings reports to talk about.
I know, JC.
No shortage of things.
Hold on. We can get into your earnings right now, but this will preface slide 2. Will set everybody up for those earnings, right? And this one, Strazza will agree. This one, Strazza's gonna like this one.
Oh God.
So are you telling me, Mr. Strazza, that these technology stocks have been struggling somewhat this month?
Yeah.
Since they got to the exact same level 24 years ago where they started to struggle. Are you telling me that this time is just like that time?
I don't think it'll be just like that time. That would be
you think that this is just portfolios. You think this is just a coincidence?
No. Logical levels, my friend. Logical levels. Price targets being hit in the absolute price charts. Key levels being tested in the relative trends. Sideways, consolidation. This trend deserves a little bit of cool off here. Digest some of these gains. XLK's been great on absolute and relative terms. Let them dance.
Do you think, Mr. Strazza, that the technology stocks will continue to underperform the rest of the markets for the rest of the year?
Do I think tech will outperform? No,
No. Do you think tech will continue to underperform as it has this month?
Yeah.
For the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think so.
Woo! Can we get like explosion sounds there, Spencer? Like, do we have those?
Hold on. You're saying tech and showing me XLK. I think XLK will continue to underperform. What the small cap tech index does, I think could be a totally different story.
The small cap tech index actually up this month. Yeah. So I'm talking about mega cap tech.
Yes.
Yeah. So Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple.
Yeah, I don't think this profit taking ends right here. I think some of them will dig in and rebound. I think we're seeing that this morning. Want to see follow through. I think some green candles are important today in tech, but the Mag 7 names, they're all struggling. So I think you could pick your spots in tech, but as a group, the tech heavy indexes are going to underperform.
So what you're saying is that humans who have been irresponsibly long technology have been rewarded for doing so, and now they will be penalized for that.
That's right.
Do I have that right?
That recency bias is gonna hurt, I think.
There's always a spin. There's always a spin to make. You could say if you're a long-term investor, you should want that, right? So
Spencer,
you want what?
You should want to buy at lower prices.
No, this is the dumbest argument.
Yeah, that's like those people that are like, listen, guys, I hope I'm wrong about this, but I really think the stock market's going to crash.
Yeah.
That motherfucker ain't hoping he's wrong.
Dude, that is that is one of the worst takes in finance.
Wow.
Like, you should be hoping for prices to come down so you could buy them at lower prices.
It's the dumbest shit I've ever heard, Spencer.
That's a crazy valuation person belief.
Yeah.
They believe valuation matters. Yeah. Like a lower price is a good thing. We want prices to rise because we want the value of our accounts to go up. It's not.
For the record, there is nothing more bullish than the price of a stock going up.
So simple.
It's crazy.
All right.
It's math.
Speaking of things going up,
it's math, bro.
Speaking of things going up, let's talk about AMD here. This was in, sometimes the earnings reports are ambiguous, sometimes they're not. This one was unambiguous, massively positive for AMD. They beat whatever EPS, they beat revenue, they beat the data center is what we're keen on here. Data center revenue now makes up basically half the revenue of the whole business, up to $2.8 billion of revenue just from their data center. That's up 115% year over year, 21% quarter over quarter, and they raised their data center revenue guidance going forward. They increased it from $4 to $4.5 billion.
You're right, Spencer. It was a knockout report. I'm surprised the stock is not up more. Really?
Well, everyone's bidding up every chip stock this morning, so there's only so much buying power out there, right?
Well, like in the case of AMD, they've been selling them for 4 months now, so it's about time. A lot of these stocks are in 40% drawdowns.
May I remind everyone, for those who haven't taken the time to count, NVIDIA has lost $500 billion in value. $500 billion in value, like this month. No, in case anybody
look.
And by this month, it's like in the last 3 weeks. $500 billion. No big deal.
So
the last company that lost $500 billion that quickly was one Apple Computer.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what happened after that.
Yep. They can't build these chips fast enough.
Does anybody call it Apple Computer anymore?
No.
They should.
They should. I think they should. Yeah. Great name.
Throw up my AMD chart, Alfonso. It should be in there. Because, JC, if we get green candles today, is it time to sell the puts in some of these things? I don't know. I think that's what we should be thinking. I think it's a question that we should be asking.
Well, we have our meeting today, and we will certainly be talking about it. And I really like that idea a lot, especially with volatility where it is. Yeah, that's good on you, Strazza. Good on you.
I don't like the oversold readings, though. I got to be honest about it. I don't like the oversold readings in these things.
Listen, Strazza, not everything you say is smart, nor does it always make sense. But this time, I think that's both smart and making sense.
We get the Powell pump. We rebound off support. There could be some nice setups here.
Ooh, the Powell pump. I like the alliteration.
Yeah.
I like that.
I like the name Powell.
Alliteration.
I like the name Powell. I think it's a good name.
Do we have any of these earnings or lack thereof that you still need to discuss, or we can get to more important things like the Japanese yen?
Can we just read off the Microsoft headline?
Yeah, Microsoft, that one was a little ambiguous, right? I'll just quote Gene Munster, who's a good analyst, and he said they beat on 11 of 12 operating metrics, and the one that they didn't beat on was the cloud segment, which is what everyone seems to be keying in on, right? Yeah. But everything else was okay. The guidance actually wasn't like the best in the world. It was actually a little bit light on the cloud guidance specifically. And people seem to be talking about how much money they're going to be spending on CapEx, which is purely 100% AI related. So, there's things to debate here. It's Microsoft. So they're good, right? I mean, the numbers were mostly good. It was just like the cloud unit growth was a little bit slow or a little bit light, and the guidance was a little bit on the light side for that. But you can see the debate happening in the after-hour session just in terms of the price action.
So when stocks like NVIDIA and Supermicro and Dell rally after hours on a report from Microsoft, right? Not one of their own reports. It's important to understand that what Spencer just said, Microsoft comes out and says, we're spending X amount on CapEx. That means sales for those other three companies and whoever they have to pay for that CapEx. They're building out the AI infrastructure, right? So Microsoft's CapEx is NVIDIA's revenue.
Yep.
Cool.
That's correct.
Okay, are we done? Can we talk about more important things, please?
Should I bring Kenny on for this?
No, throw up the yen, and then we'll bring on Kenny.
Okay.
I want to get back. I want to get back to stocks with Kenny, but I think this is important. Strazza agrees it's important, so then it must be true.
The yen is more important than Microsoft.
Yes.
Look, yeah, it might be. It might.
What do you mean it might be? Of course, the yen's more important than Microsoft. What's the matter with you guys?
They're both really important, but Bank of Japan with the big guns, man. What, 33 billion? Did you read this headline?
No, I looked at the price.
What? That they're going to be facing reducing their bond purchases?
They spent 33 billion basically defending the yen over the past month, 3 months, I think it was. It's a pretty big number.
So are you saying, Mr. Strazza, that the bond market has had it right all along?
Yeah, I mean, listen, they're propping this thing up, right?
So the bond market's had it right, and now the yen's playing catch up. Yes?
I guess so. Yeah.
So yen up,
Yeah.
bonds up, rates down, stocks up.
Yes.
Yen up, bonds up, rates down, stocks up.
Yeah, it's a
That's
little bit
the way
different.
we like to, right?
A little bit different than in the past, no? Usually yen up, not the best thing. I don't know.
I'm with you. I'm with you. In the past, in more deflationary environments and regimes, a rising yen has been a negative.
Yeah.
You know, I hate to keep coming back to that story about when the Associated Press got hacked and on Twitter, and they said that there was an explosion in the White House and Obama was in it. The yen is the one they bought the fastest. Faster than bonds, faster than gold, they bought the yen. So to your point, Strazza, in the old days, a rising yen was a negative for risk assets. In this particular instance, in a more inflationary regime that we obviously have been in for the last couple of years, a rising yen is a positive for risk assets. Is that about right?
That's right.
Okay.
So 36 billion in currency intervention over the trailing month. And what, they just moved their policy rate 35 basis points, I believe?
25.
25?
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
You
They're
know,
raising rates over there.
it's a big difference when you're able to move interest rates up to 4 or 5%, like the Federal Reserve was able to do this cycle, because that gives you ammo to then come in and cut in the future. This is something the Bank of Japan hasn't seemed to figure out, right? If your rates are already at zero, there's not much you can do to help markets.
You can go negative.
You could, but we don't know how well that works, right? We don't have enough data. So the Federal Reserve in a much different position, you know, here with rates near 5%, because in the event that they do need to have an emergency cut, or there's a pandemic, God forbid, right? Nobody saw COVID coming. They can really cut because we're as high as we are. So that's a big
Regional
deal.
banks, transportation stocks, credit spreads saw COVID coming.
I have to hear about this one more time.
What?
We didn't. We were short as shit and long as hell bonds. And we know less about viruses today than we did then.
Okay.
Market's good at sniffing this stuff out, is it not?
Can I bring Kenny on, please?
This
Please.
is true. It is true.
Dear Lord.
It's been a long time coming. They ain't come from my club, they took it. Putting up numbers, 99 pounds, and I still kept it 100. Hola. Yeah.
Oh, Kenny in the house, man. That bumper really pumps me up. I'm into it.
Wait.
Maybe one of these days
Mute
Kenny will
button,
come
Kenny.
and unmute himself before he comes in. One of these days, Kenny, what do you think, buddy? First timer?
You don't want to hear me yelling at my wife or my kids in the background.
Amateur hour over here, Kenny. As an OG, this is like, Kenny is. I don't know if people realize Kenny is a pioneer in the space.
Yeah.
A pioneer, a man of many talents.
Yes, I have a talent of sitting in front of screens for 30 years. 30 years have gone by. When did the starting gun go off? What's that Pink Floyd?
There have been an antic or two along the way. It's not all sitting around in a chair.
Yeah.
Not all fun and games, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of fun and games last night, as a matter of fact.
Ooh, tell me about your evening of fun and games.
No, last night the after hours action was the best I've seen in a couple of years. The dip buyers were out. It was like they knew Microsoft was going to calm everybody down. They knew the earnings weren't so bad, and then the Qs just started to take off, and they just grinded higher right till 8 p.m. So a lot of buyers out last night, kind of taken away from the action this morning because we're just continuing. So I'm kind of just sitting back. I tried to play the fade so far. I got smoked trying to short a few things, and there's nobody selling this morning. So I'm 0 for 2 right now, but I had a pretty good aftermarket. So I'm just going to sit and wait. This is I don't like to buy into a market that starts this high, and so far the shorts, the fading isn't working.
So you think the strength here is the resiliency here is impressive, not something you want to fight.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I heard you guys were shorting something or selling puts. This market right now, I do what's called the short strangle. So I'm thinking the highs of the Qs might be in for the year. So I started selling premium on the Qs above the 505. And I also think that we have seen the lows around that 441. So I started selling puts below the 441. So this up and down 10 every other day is pretty good for me as time goes by and my option prices start to disintegrate. That's what I'm looking forward to. But, again, I'd like to participate in some of these 10-point moves to be long. But right now, again, I don't want to put my money up where I'm going to lose it. And so far, it's a losing morning because I tried to play some shorts. I thought Microsoft would pull back a little bit, and it didn't. It actually smoked me. And so did the Qs. But, again, it's just we're 20 minutes into the day, and I'm sure there's going to be some other things to do. But like I said, yesterday's aftermarket was amazing. There was the dip buyers when you thought they were not going to show up, they showed up in droves, and it's amazing. It's amazing.
Do you take that as information, right? So Kenny, in general, for those maybe who are unaware, Kenny focuses a lot on mean reversion, right? So huge sell-offs, looking to buy that for a mean reversion back. Big rallies, looking to fade that for a mean reversion back.
Right.
When you are attempting to do exactly that, like you did this morning, and failed a couple of times, right? Market's telling you that you're doing the wrong things. Do you take that as information and look to take it the other side, or you do less? Like, how do you think about that?
Well, I'm kind of like dipping my toe in right now. And again, it wasn't really, it's a little bit different from what I normally do. I usually wait for the market. You always say it best. It's easy to buy stocks when they're going up and short them when they're going down. I tried to get in its way. I put an offer out there at a big whole number and just smashed right through it at 466. And I quickly took the loss. So again, what to your point was, the market's telling me don't do this. So I'm going to
stop it.
Yeah, I'm going to sit back and wait. I'm looking at some of the ones that are down, like Pinterest. That one's interesting to me right now because it's still down, but they're finding some buyers right now. It's just chopping around in $1 range, so I'm going to focus on that one because it's still red. And again, I still think there will be some selling inevitably today because we keep seeing it now that we're at the 467.50 area on the Qs. So this is where we found resistance once before. And again, I don't mind just sitting in this range. I just got chopped up these first 2 trades in the morning. So we'll see what happens.
Are you a Pinterest power user?
I am never on Pinterest except for tattoo ideas. I like their demons and skulls and stuff. Yeah, that's
interesting.
That's about it.
Tattoo ideas. All right.
Yeah. I don't know much about Pinterest, and you know what? I still don't have a Reddit account. Maybe I should get on there. I heard there's a lot of stock chatter on there.
No, you're good, man. It's better for your sanity. Stay away from that.
I cannot argue against that hard enough, Kenny.
Stay off it. All right, I made it this far without being on Reddit. All right, I'll stay off it.
You don't need that shit.
I'll just stay on the Yahoo message boards and AOL.
Something.
You'll never get out, I'm afraid.
I'll go back to the AOL chat rooms that I started.
One more. Give me one more name. Kenny.
Listen, the only thing I got paid on today was Serve, and this stock continues to be awesome.
This mover.
And again, Serve. This is my chart right here. This was a simple trade. This one I made money on. Gap down stocks that are in play, break over the VWAP. I'm in, especially if they're breaking whole numbers. Got paid on this one, and it wasn't too bad. So I'm going to keep this one on the radar. You know what? Stock keeps coming back. CMAX. I know nothing about this one, but when they stay in play, that interests me, and I keep them around. Those IPOs, I'm still waiting for OS to get over the 28.50. It just scraped it yesterday. I think this one probably looks like a $30 stock. And what's another one? NCLH, the cruise lines. My parents are on a cruise right now, so you see how it dipped already to the VWAP. If it doesn't get over 1950 and rolls back below the 1920, I'm looking to short it probably back down to the that 1875 area. So
wow.
There you go.
I didn't realize that Norwegian Cruise Lines wasn't based in Norway. I would have bet my life that was an ADR from Norway. As it turns out, it is from Florida, which one can argue should be an ADR in and of itself, but anyway.
Probably true.
All I know is my parents are on another cruise. They go on 2 cruises a year. They cannot get enough. I
don't understand that.
See,
Why don't they
JC?
just pick a place
People
and
do
go
this.
there?
They just love it. They just love the cruise. They love being not having to do much, and they don't even leave the boat. They don't go on the excursions. We went on a cruise to Alaska, and they stayed on the boat. I'm like, all right, we're going salmon fishing. They were on the boat. All right, we're going to see some glaciers. They stayed on the boat. They just love cruises. I don't know what it is. You know what it is? They get their money's worth. They're not that expensive. You get fed 24/7. You get entertained, and there's a DJ at the end of the night. What more can you ask for?
Makes it sound pretty good, doesn't he? Yeah.
Your parents can have it, bro.
Yeah. I once every 3 or 4 years, I'm looking at the Viking cruise, which is also own that stock, by the way. It's still doing all right. The Viking cruises are interesting. That one, they have a cruise that you fly down to Argentina and then you cruise around there, and then they bring you to Antarctica and you get off the boat and you go kayaking with penguins. Now that's something. That sounds cool.
Kayaking with penguins, I can get down with.
Absolutely.
It's hanging out with all those people that are also on the cruise ship that I don't want to do.
Yeah, Viking's a whole different genre.
I'm gonna do the Disney cruise when
Don't
my kids are a
do
little
the
bit
Disney
older. I heard the
cruise.
Disney cruise is good, so that's the one I got to do.
Don't do the Disney cruise. I'll leave you on that.
All right.
That's
Thanks
the
a lot,
one thing
Kenny.
that I
All
have
right,
to
guys.
do.
I'll see you in the room, boys and girls.
All right, Kenny, go get him.
All
The
right.
link was on the screen. I'll put it in the chat. Hit thebid.com. That's where Kenny's going to be right now, actually. Speaking of right now, shall we bring on Willie Delwiche?
Please.
You specifically said, JC, get Willie on the show. So I did. I don't know why you said that, because I don't know what's in your head and you want to ask him, but I'm sure
I have
you know.
so many questions for Willie.
So many questions. All right.
So many
Let's find out.
questions. Jay, we've been friends for a long time. Make the call.
I mean, this is pretty professional, guys.
Nice show you got going here.
Willie boy.
Hey, what's up, JC? What's going on?
Come on, man. Willie, you coming to Chicago in September?
If I get an invitation, I will.
Spencer, how come you haven't invited Willie?
Willie, you're invited.
God damn it, Spencer.
I was just in Chicago yesterday, as a matter of fact. So it's
And how is Chicago these days?
hot and muggy yesterday, but otherwise beautiful.
Do you hate cities, Willie? Or do you just
live in a
really
city.
love the outdoors? Or a little bit of both?
I live in a city, but I love the outdoors. So,
Okay.
I don't know.
And
I don't know.
you were just up there, right?
Down there. Yes.
Oh no, when you go up to the woods, you go up, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, we've been all over the place this summer. We drove out west, hit 5-6 national parks, 5,000-mile road trip for a 25th wedding anniversary. So that was a good time.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It was
Love that.
made it all the way to the Pacific Coast. So
And back.
and back. two different rental cars. Got out there and had to trade one in, but still we made it.
Good for you, Willie. Let's get right into it.
Sure.
If yen up, bonds up, rates down, stocks up.
You like to try to get me to talk about currencies, JC.
No. I mean, the yen is very powerful. It's true. I am always trying to get you to talk about currencies. Forget the currencies. Rates.
Yeah. I think the best thing for stocks right now would be stable rates. We've talked a lot about this in the past. Stocks can handle any level of interest rates. What they don't like is interest rate volatility, particularly when that comes to the upside. So if we've got bond yields stabilizing, if we've got whatever the Fed does and the bond market approves of it, and we don't get pushback, we don't get too much. Oh no, what's the Fed worried about from an economic perspective? I think stocks are probably okay with respect to whatever level rates settle at.
Let's talk about sectors, Willie.
Yeah.
One can argue that the outperformance of technology ended last year, right? You had some bouts of outperformance this year, new relative highs, slightly intact relative to S&Ps that quickly failed. But it's really kind of been sideways on a relative basis all year, now towards the lower end of the range. You've seen financials, industrials, healthcare, materials, particularly down the cap scale, take over that leadership. Certainly this month, the rotation into smalls, can't ignore that. Talk to me about sectors. What are you thinking here for the back half of the year?
Yeah, so I mean, everybody loves tech, and if you look back over the past decade, there's reasons for that. Tech has been a consistent and persistent outperformer. But you stretch it back, and you mentioned tech versus industrials, tech versus financials. It got to some pretty extreme levels, and is now reversing away from there. And so you could argue that that has been overdone. I don't like you're showing tech versus S&P. I would prefer to look at tech versus financials or tech versus industrials, because at this point, 1/3 of what's in your denominator is what's in the numerator there. So
fair. You see how Willie doesn't let me get away with shit, right? You see that? I appreciate that, Willie. Love you. Appreciate that.
So it becomes more extreme if you look at industrials or financials relative to tech. So you're back at some of those long-term historically important levels, and you're reversing below them. And then you can look at it large cap versus small cap. And again, if we're talking about large cap, that's mostly tech. And go back to October of last year, I think. Small caps have actually outperformed large caps, and so you are seeing this much anticipated, long expected rotation away from some of those mega caps. It's been noisy for sure. I mean, earlier this summer, you had the Mag 7 going straight up, and small caps were not falling apart, but not really participating. Now all of a sudden that's changed, and so we are at a really, I think, pivotal rotational point for the market. The army is leading now. The generals are taking a breather.
Is that a bad thing?
No, it's I would much prefer to be long equities when almost everything is moving higher versus when only a few things are moving higher.
We can take that chart off now. I just wanted to hear Willie's thoughts. Willie just abused that chart. He's like, JC, that chart is useless. I appreciate that, Willie. In the month of July, Willie, you saw the most amount of stocks on the New York Stock Exchange above their 200-day moving average this entire bull market. You saw the most amount of new 52-week highs on the New York Stock Exchange this entire bull market. You also saw that on the NASDAQ, by the way, this entire bull market. The New York Stock Exchange advanced decline line at all-time highs. Are these the types of things that you normally see at the end of a bull market? Or is it closer towards the middle or even the early stages in your experience?
Yeah, I've seen other people characterize it as this really interesting early cycle behavior from a breadth perspective at a time when some of the cap weighted indexes are looking a little bit more late cycle. And so if we're just looking at breadth, this is the type of stuff that happens at the beginning of a move. You see an expansion in new highs. You see more stocks rising than falling. All these things are traditionally those early indicators of strength, and they're also tend to be things you don't see right before the indexes peak.
Right.
And so you can argue about the move we've seen from an index level perspective and the mega caps, all that, but it would be historically odd to see this type of breadth improvement at a time right before everything falls apart from an index level perspective.
Not to
Doesn't mean we need to.
I was going to say, not to mention the extremes in rotation, like into the equally weighted S&P versus cap weighted, into small caps relative to large caps, like that massive rotation. The last times we've seen anything like this is like April 09, summer 03, like, exactly what you were just saying, like literally the beginning of cycles, like not even the middle, like the beginning.
Yeah, and so that's good if you can take advantage of it. If all you know is sit in S&P 500 and hope for the best over the long term, yeah, maybe that's not such a good thing. If you're rotating among cycles, or sectors, if you're moving across asset classes, from size perspectives, from growth and value perspectives, this is a great opportunity. If you're sitting in a mega cap dominated sector or index, and that index isn't moving to the same degree, it's going to feel like a tough time, especially when you start to see small caps start to pick up the slack. Maybe at some point the rest of the world will start to pick up the slack relative to the US. Not really seeing that yet, but historically that happens from time to time, and so it wouldn't be too surprising. But again, if what you mean by equity exposure is buy SPY and just sit there, then maybe the next year isn't going to feel as nice as the last year. Doesn't mean it feels awful, but you start to see other areas do better, and so you start to feel a little frustrated by that, probably.
Willie, what do you think about these energy stocks doing so well despite the selling pressure in crude oil?
Yeah, that's an interesting dynamic. I was just looking at oil this morning, and really not doing the types of things that would suggest any sort of strength in the energy sector. But energy's holding in there. From what that means specifically for the individual stocks, I don't know. We could guess about efficiencies, things like that. But it does suggest, go back to what you were talking about before, kind of long-term rotations. We've talked about in the past, this rotation from tech to energy, long overdue. How many tech stocks are larger than the entire energy sector? Maybe not as many as a month ago, but it's still a lot of them. And so that is an under-owned area in the market, I believe. And if you are looking to rotate away from tech into something else, maybe you're not looking to rotate into small caps, maybe you're not looking to rotate into some foreign country, maybe you just want to stay in large caps. What do you look at? You look at maybe energy as kind of the opposite to tech, and maybe that's a destination for money. When things are improving, it's hard to argue that that's a negative for the market, for that market. That's a general thing. When lines are rising, that's not a sign of weakness. Maybe that's a way to summarize it.
Willie, when crude oil traded below zero, as you recall,
yes,
that was the end of a dramatic underperformance from energy stocks that was going on for a long, long, long time. You saw a massive ripper into the end of 20 and through 2021 and into 2022 of energy outperformance. Massive, like just that initial thrust. And then last year, you saw that corrective action in energy where everything else really outperformed and energy kind of struggled, kind of digesting that initial thrust. Are you in the camp that correction has now taken place and now energy can resume that outperformance that we saw off of those lows in 2020? That the wave 3, if you will, for you Ellioticians out there, not to get into all that, but Willie knows what I mean.
Yeah, I think that's possible. And we did see a period of energy outperformance a couple years ago relative to tech, and then it corrected, like you said. I want to wait. I don't want to anticipate that turn. I'd like to see the turn actually take place and then follow it, believing that if it's you'll zoom out, look at a energy versus tech chart. If there's actually some reversion to take place there, it's meaningful reversion, and you don't need to be early on it to really participate. I'd like to wait to see confirmation, but I think what you're suggesting is certainly plausible, and we this is a great part of what we get to do, JC. We get to lay out a hypothesis and then let the market confirm whether or not that's actually the case, and then we can continue to lean into that, or it can refute it, and then we can say, okay, well, let's find another idea that we can work with. We're not stuck in this idea where all we've got is ideas and we don't have any way to test them. The market gives us that ability to test on an ongoing basis. So let's look at that as a possibility, and see if the market behavior confirms that as we go forward.
What Willie is saying is that neither one of us, or anybody else for that matter, has any idea what's going to happen next. We can come up with a hypothesis, and I love how you said that. The market will confirm that that theory is correct or incorrect, right? I love that. We can actually test that. Do you think, knowing that you don't know what's going to happen, and neither do I, but do you think it's a higher probability outcome that outperformance in energy that thrusted off the 2020 lows when crude oil traded below zero, how beautiful is that? You think it's a higher probability outcome that now resumes moving forward?
Yes, I do. I believe that we are at a point in the cycle where, as bad as most other things have looked relative to tech, going forward, we will start to see the opposite of that. If tech is over-owned, there's so much energy and excitement with it, that anyone who wants to be in it's probably in it. And so now we start to look at and see if the crowd starts to move away from tech. And this really gets into sentiment generally. You don't want to fight the crowd when it's moving in the same direction, but once it starts to reverse, then you start to see what's happening. And so I think whether we're talking about the market overall from a long-term perspective or tech in this specific moment, we've seen that excessive optimism. Now let's see if the crowd starts to look for other places for its money. Given the size of tech, it wouldn't take much money moving out of tech to really get a move going, like you said, in energy, or to get a move going in small caps, things like that.
Slide 2, Spencer Israel. I appreciate that, Willie. We're agreeing too much today. The original Bitcoin, if you will, gold, is on pace for a, check my math, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th consecutive all-time monthly closing high. This thing did nothing for 14 years, which is a long time, Willie. It's a long time.
Yeah.
The way I learned it was that the bigger the base, the higher in space, right?
Yeah.
That's how I learned it. Do you think there's some truth to that?
Yeah. I mean, gold looks good right now. You're right. If you, it had a tremendous move. This is early in our careers. It was a couple $100, and then it, could do no wrong. And then since then it's moved sideways. I mean, the long-term trend is rising.
Willie, tell the kids how fun it was when gold was ripping, how cool it was to be a gold bug. The kids these days, they don't know. Tell them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, JC. I think you've mentioned it before. You can be a gold bug at times. You can be an anything bug at times, but when something's moving sideways and not moving higher, not really moving lower, is that the time to have all your money invested in it? Probably not. And there's no reason to. You don't need to come up with these grand theories of everything, explaining why it is that you need to have gold in your portfolio. You can just follow the price action, and if the gold trend is rising, you probably want gold in your portfolio. If it's moving sideways after having ripped for a few years, you probably don't want it in your portfolio, at least not from a short to intermediate term perspective.
Did you know that bugs, as in gold bug, stands for basket of unhedged gold stocks? Did you know that?
I don't know that I could have come up with that, but I do remember that being an acronym.
Yeah, the original Amex Gold Bugs Index, basket of unhedged gold stocks. Isn't that hilarious? I didn't know that. Willie, you're an outdoorsman. What is your favorite bug?
My favorite bug.
I'm a big fan of the carpenter ants myself. But
oh well, as a homeowner, JC, you should not be a fan of the carpenter ant.
dude, they're they're strong as shit. They're very strong, these carpenter ants.
Probably my favorite would be the swallowtail butterfly. Not really a bug, but it starts out as a caterpillar.
As a bug, doesn't it?
Yeah, it starts as a caterpillar. Find it on the dill outside. You can bring it inside. You can feed it. It eats nothing but dill and devours dill for a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden gets in a cocoon or chrysalis actually, and does nothing for a couple weeks, and then all of a sudden you wake up one morning, you got a butterfly where you used to have a caterpillar. So, pretty amazing stuff. Kids love it. It's kind of fascinating to see the caterpillar grow and then all of a sudden become a butterfly. So
yeah,
I
appreciate that, Willie. Appreciate that. Sorry to get off topic, but I was just kind of curious since we're on the topic of bugs.
Yeah,
we talked about precious metals. We talked about interest rates. We talked about sector rotation. I mean, man, we've covered a lot of ground. We got a couple of minutes left here, Willie. Why don't you tell me what you're thinking about? Like, what stands out that's like, it's got you thinking.
So it's Fed day today. So we got questions about what the Fed's going to do. I think they're in a bit of a pickle right now. You look at.
I see what you did there. Pickle. See the dill. Get it?
I'd like to say that I planned that.
Well done, Willie. Well done.
Just happens naturally, I guess. So if you look at full-time employment growth, it's negative on a year basis. The Fed should have cut already. Look at longer term. Look at inflation measures. They're not back to where the Fed wants it to be from a long-term perspective. So that's in the news, but I think that is a prelude to questions about what not just the next year is going to be, but the next 10 years. Is it going to look like the past 10 years in terms of tech-led dominance, persistent downtrend in interest rates? I don't think so. I think we're at a fascinating point from an asset allocation perspective where we're entering a new paradigm of probably higher inflation, higher bond yields, and then investors having to answer what that means in terms of asset allocation, and then what that means relative to where they're already exposed. Households have a ton of equity exposure right now, a ton of technology exposure. If my expectations for the next decade are right, there's some massive reallocation that needs to take place that for now investors are looking past and hoping that whatever the past decade was continues to play out in the coming decade.
What about these cats over on the sell side, Willie? Are they chasing and revising higher?
No, they're not. And that's I was going to bring that up earlier too. They're not. You continue to have this earnings revision trend move lower. Earnings numbers on an absolute basis look great. Those are guesses. What we want to pay attention to is what's happening at the margin. Are you not where you are, but where you're moving towards? Are you moving higher in terms of earnings? Are you moving lower in terms of earnings expectations? And the earnings revision trend is moving lower right now. Doesn't mean stocks need to fall apart, but that tends to be a useful headwind. If sell side analysts are chasing higher, that suggests that they were a little bit too pessimistic. Now they're putting money to work or encouraging their clients to put money to work. Right now, that's not happening.
What do you think about all that cash on the sidelines? Record money markets. Do you consider that a tailwind, or is it more like, let's wait to see that start to unwind before we call that a tailwind?
I'm not seeing a whole lot of cash on the sidelines that looks
$6 trillion in money markets doesn't
adjusted for the level of the stock market. It's not a lot of cash on the sidelines.
So as a percentage of total stock market cap, which is 50 trillion at this point, right. So it's 6. Right. So when it was at 3 and the market was at 40 trillion, right? So what you're saying is that it's moving up with the market.
Right. It relative to the size of the market, it's not excessive.
So that's like saying like Warren Buffett's cash holdings are at record levels, but as a percentage of the overall portfolio, it's actually pretty consistent with what he always has.
Yeah. Or saying that the Dow's up 1,000 points today, versus if the Dow was up 1,000 points when it was at 20,000.
Right.
That absolute number doesn't matter as much if you take it out of context of where you are in the cycle.
Valid. Spencer,
No,
we got
JC,
Willie Delwiche in the house. Any questions from your neck of the woods?
you haven't brought up the cash pile in a while, so I'm pleased to see you bring that up. So good,
No,
good,
Willie,
good answer, Willie. Good
Willie
answer.
makes a good point. Yeah, Willie doesn't
Yeah.
let me get away with anything.
Yeah.
Willie, how's bread making? Making good bread these days?
I am. Bread making's going well. Wine making is going well.
Hey now.
Yeah.
You're making it with that fruit though.
Well,
Non-grape wine.
I had this beautiful cherry wine. This is a sad story to finish off the conversation, but it was beautiful. It was Door County cherries, lovely. Transitioning it, had put in a carboy, put in a storage for a little bit. As I was moving it, 5-gallon carboy of wine broke, spilled all over the basement floor. And it was going to be a good one too. It's cherry, not grape, but yeah. So
Is it really sweet?
no. It tastes like cherries on the front end, but finishes dry. They're tart cherries, Montmorency cherries. And so
What's the alcohol content on that? Do you know?
As probably 13%. So yeah, it's tasty. It's not California Cab.
Yeah.
It is a
what
different
is?
thing. It is a
All I want to
different
know, this
thing.
cherry wine you're making, does it help you make bad decisions?
No, it's cherry juice is good for you. Cherries have all sorts of health benefits. So I figure if you combine the health benefits of cherry juice, the health benefits of wine, you're onto something. Unfortunately, I need to get some more cherries now and try it again because what we don't have anymore.
Just head across the lake to Michigan. They have cherries there.
They got plenty of
Nope.
cherries over there.
Door County, Wisconsin, just a couple hours away.
right.
So
Yeah, understand.
Wisconsin cherries, Spencer. Wisconsin cherries, not the
Okay.
Michigan
Yeah,
ones.
we got a Wisconsin cat here. It's not all about Michigan, Spencer.
My bad.
Not
All
every
right.
state makes terrible cars, right? Come on.
Yeah, sure. Guys, Willie Delwiche, High Mount Research, the links to his site, to his Twitter are both in the description. Check it out. Willie, it is always great to talk to you.
Yep. Thanks a lot, guys. See you soon.
Thank you, Willie. Appreciate it, brother.
All right.
Delwiche.
Countdown to the open. Where we at? Like 20 seconds and counting until they're off. There's more earnings to discuss, though. A lot of more earnings.
We do.
NASDAQ hanging in there pretty well this morning as the market's about to open. NASDAQ futures at the high of the morning up 2.3%. That's 440 points for the NASDAQ this morning. Very aggressive. Crude oil up 3%. Copper up 2.5%.
I mean,
big moves.
Nvidia's up 9% this morning. You know, Nvidia.
Yes.
9%.
Nvidia now representing 20-something% of the technology index when it was 4%. Just about a month back.
And just get used to this dynamic of the Mag 7s coming out and reporting what they expect for CapEx expenditure to move the price of NVIDIA and other AI stocks.
Perhaps. Yeah.
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Those are your big customers.
Strazza, I got a good one for you, brother, man.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You want to throw up my earnings table?
Yeah, throw up the earnings table, and I'm going to drop a couple of charts on. What do we got?
So
Oh boy.
This is a table that we run every day internally. I think it's one of the best things that we do. So this is yesterday's table. We're taking all of the reports from after the market on July 29th, and then all of the reports from before the market yesterday, because we need to know how they performed in their earnings session before we can put them on the table. And then we do it every following day. So during earnings season, this is a very busy list. And what we're doing is we're tracking which companies consistently, time and time again, beat the market's expectation for their reports, and the way that we're measuring that in the beat streak column, is that they were simply up following their earnings, right? So in the session following their earnings report, was the price of the stock higher? That's what puts it on our beat report list and gives it the beat streak. If you look at something like Howmet Aerospace, 4 quarters in a row now, the market continues to reward this company every time it updates them on their fundamentals. And it's a nice trend. Merck, rounding out the losers from yesterday's list, it's down about 9%, almost 10%. And they beat on both the top and bottom. So it's only a beat to us if the market says it's a beat. So something like Merck beats on the top, beats on the bottom line. Well, maybe the estimates were no good. Maybe wherever Wall Street kind of had their projections was not really what the market was thinking or had in mind, because stock shouldn't be down 10% if it beat, right?
Yeah, this is a great scan, and we'll be talking more about this, I imagine, in the coming days and weeks.
Overall, the reactions have been positive, right? That's really what we're tracking here. Does the market like the earnings reports or not? Is the market rewarding companies after they come out and report each quarter or not, right? Because in bull markets, they should be rewarding them more than they're knocking them down. So that's what you see, all this green in the last column.
Yeah, last 2 columns are the most important columns on this table, right? The rest of it is just context. But
yep. What a clean, beautiful table, though.
I like
Speaking
how
of
it's
earnings,
green.
Like
when it's a bear market, is it going to be red?
I don't know. Should it be? We'll have to wait and see.
And if you don't know, it could be like a purple or something, you know?
If you don't know, now you know.
Yeah. Throw up slides 2. This is going to be right up Strazza's alley here. This is one of the larger components of the consumer discretionary index. Spencer, can you throw that up, please?
You and your discretionary stocks. You just so good. Fantastic. Great work.
Yeah, so this is McDonald's. They have burgers and French fries, and I feel like as I get older, the food there gets worse. Have you noticed that?
Good. I just love it. Yeah.
Well, you have to go there somewhat regularly because you have young kids, right?
I had a Big Mac yesterday, and it was terrible.
It's bad. The Big Mac's terrible. I don't know why the Big Mac is like their thing. It
was terrible. It is not good at all.
I actually like.
I couldn't even finish it. I had 2 bites of it and threw it away.
It's too much bread. It's too much bread.
I had to take my daughter to dance class, and she wanted a milkshake on the way home. Whatever. I was like, all right, I get a Big Mac. It was terrible.
Dude, get the triple cheeseburger next time. The triple cheeseburger.
Dude, do not eat at McDonald's. It's gonna kill you. And the milkshake wasn't very good either, to be honest.
Disappointing.
I remember them; they were pretty good back in the day. I feel like.
I love me a good Shamrock shake, but you can only get them a couple months out of the year.
Shamrock shake. All right, I don't know what that is, but okay. So massive double top here in McDonald's, theoretically, right? But as we continue to see again and again and again, these topping patterns don't end up being that at all. If you go to the next slide there, zoom in on that support. Spencer, that is your cue.
Yeah, 1 second.
That is your cue to throw up that. And then here's zooming in on that right arch there with a bullish momentum divergence support coming in. Mr. Strazza, is this just another classic example of a good old American brand not completing a massive top and, in fact, finding support at prior levels of support and ripping with this bull market? What do you think?
I like this so much. I love this. I love the setup here.
I figured you'd like that.
And I'll tell you what I like more. You don't have to throw up the earnings table because it was on the prior days. I don't think we have it. If we do, you could throw it up, Fonz. McDonald's missed on the top and bottom line. Charts break down, right? It was right here, sitting at support. They missed on the top and bottom line. That should break the chart down. No?
I don't understand, Strazza. They missed on the bottom line and the top line. Why isn't the stock going down? This market is rigged.
It doesn't make sense, does it? I love it when it doesn't make sense. So they missed top bottom line. The stock pops, breaking out of this little tactical base, I would say, coming off of a key level. A lot to like here. Great American brand.
Also, the movie The Founder, great movie, was just Peter bringing up. Great movie. Plus, I got the hots for what's her face,
Linda Cardellini.
Yeah, she was in Grandma's Boy. She got me
Yeah.
at Grandma's Boy. I fell in love. Love at
Yeah.
first sight.
Definitely.
She was my childhood crush from Freaks and Geeks. How's that?
Oh, I don't
No
know
doubt.
what that is.
No doubt.
Who knows?
Okay, speaking
Love
of
her.
McDonald's,
So hot.
can we go to another great American brand? Maybe, I don't know, Starbucks. Since they had earnings,
Nope.
no, not as good.
They don't
Okay.
get the label.
Hold on,
Right?
can we get back to good old American brands? This it's good. It's kind of a good chart. No.
Starbucks, second quarter in a row that their revenue is falling, their same store sales are falling, and the stock is up. At least it was last I checked this morning, because it wasn't as bad as it could have been, but it still was definitely not good. Objectively not good here for Starbucks.
A bit of a golden arch on this one too, huh?
Yeah, bit. Looks like a massive Head and Shoulders top, right? When again and again, the market keeps saying it is not. A big component of the discretionary space. Again, hate to keep harping on that, Strazza, but it is.
Here, I'll say two things. I'll say one thing. It's true for both of these companies. Starbucks pays almost a 3% yield at
Do
this
they?
point. Yeah, and it's Starbucks, right? They sell coffee. People love it. It's solid business. McDonald's is going to give you 2.5%. These are above market yields, right? And some great American brands. I don't know if we could call Starbucks a great American brand. Dunkin's a great American brand. I don't know about
Starbucks. Foot traffic was down, I think 5%. In China, same store sales down.
Include drive-by.
Maybe they should.
That's a great question. I don't actually know. In China, their same store sales down 14%. Ouch. That was their growth segment for a while. Was China. Anyway.
This is bad news for the banks, right? All the banks.
What?
All the banks that were hoping Starbucks was going to come take over their leases.
Oh, those. I saw yesterday.
I see what you did there, Straz. I see what you did there.
I saw that.
Funny. That's funny.
There's an iconic Starbucks in Queens that just closed, I guess, and everyone in Queens was talking about it. But anyway, one more, then we'll bring Mary on, or maybe a couple more.
Is talking about it. It must be important.
Whatever. Boeing throwing the kitchen sink at it this quarter. Everything bad. Oh, but by the way, we have a brand new CEO. It's the former CEO of Rockwell Collins, right?
Sorry for her.
Yeah, him actually.
Stocks up 2%. Miss rally.
Wow.
Yeah, new CEO.
You can't
earnings were awful, like really bad.
Which clearly surprised nobody, for the record.
Right.
I know nothing about earnings or Boeing, and I would have bet that the earnings sucked.
Right? Yes.
It continues to kind of blow my mind. I think it's awesome that the General Electric CEO turned this job down.
I like how you call it General Electric.
Yeah, I love it how Spencer changes it before he sends out my emails.
All right. Let's do one.
Hold on. Can we just rewind for 1 second?
Yeah.
Can we just did you guys know that Norwegian Cruise Lines was not from Norway? Did you guys know that? I didn't know that.
I can't say I've ever thought about it, honestly.
Like that's like saying, oh, Alaska Air is from Atlanta. Like that doesn't make any sense. I would guess that Alaska Airlines is in Alaska, like Hawaiian Airlines is in Hawaii. No?
We need someone to tell us what goes on these Royal Caribbean boats. Why does this chart look so much better than the other ones? Like any boots on the ground?
Well, I've only ever been on a Royal Caribbean cruise. I've never been on any other cruise line.
I imagine it like Times Square, where you got like Nemo walking around and Spider-Man, and they smell really bad, and like, you know what I mean? Like the food's terrible.
My
like,
perception.
That's how I think of cruises.
And chat, feel free to correct me.
We're on a big boat.
The perception to me has always been that Carnival is more affordable. It's more of a party atmosphere. Royal Caribbean is more for families, right? And therefore maybe a higher dollar consumer. They're a little bit more expensive, and yeah, so a little bit nicer than Carnival. Maybe that's why.
Didn't Viking just come public, Spencer?
Yeah, what is it? VKNG or something?
No, VIK.
That's what I meant.
VIK. And these are the fancy ones that float in the rivers.
These are my parents did this. This is the European cruise stuff. Yeah.
And so the ones that people do in Alaska, what boats would those be? Maybe that's a Norwegian thing. Alaska near Norway?
Yeah, Alaska's right next to Norway. It's
Right?
adjacent.
It's cold up there.
Yeah.
Alright.
You
Maybe
can see
they did-
Russia from there. Haha, see what I did there? That's called a callback, right? You know what I do want to do? I want to go on not a cruise per se, but I would like to take a boat, some sort of sea craft. What are they called? Something on the Loire. I want to go on the Loire, from the upper Loire down to the lower Loire, finish in Nantes.
Where is this?
the
You're saying
Loire River? It cuts France in half.
So like a seaplane?
No. Like I want to be on a boat, so I could stop in like an Anjou and some Mur, and like I want to stop
cool.
along the Loire. Like that I want to do.
This is in France?
The Loire River? Yes, the Loire River cuts. The Loire River is the Mississippi River of France.
It's all you, bro. Enjoy.
All right. And like Nantes is like New Orleans. I'm sure the French would be thrilled to hear me say that, but it is.
Even dirtier, I heard.
Nantes? I don't know. I've never been to Nantes. I don't think it's dirty. That's where they drink the muscadet. That's what you drink with oysters. They got oysters there, bro.
All right, Mary can talk about cruises. Should we bring her
Yeah,
on?
bring on Mary.
All right.
Mary in the house.
Good morning, gentlemen. Nice to see you.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Funny you talking about cruises. I've been on more cruises than I can count, quite frankly.
Why?
I've been.
Why do you do that? Can you tell me why you do that?
It was actually kind of more of how we used to travel. I went often with my parents for like high school spring break and college spring break, and when I was traveling with my parents. And actually when my kids were still pretty young, because it's so easy. You just have to get on the ship. All your food is taken care of. All the entertainment is taken care of with kids. There's a kid area where you can drop the kids and actually like go do an adult couple of hours. Then
I went on
you're in a new place. It's just super easy. And I can give Morgan tons of details on Disney cruises. We've done those a couple of times.
On cruises. I went when we were probably middle school or high school, and a bunch of my friends, like we all went together. It was a blast. It was Carnival, I think, though. We did.
Okay.
I don't even remember.
I have some friends that are going to the to the Bahamas on a cruise. Why wouldn't you just go to the Bahamas though? I don't understand that part.
I think it just comes down to how much do you want to plan. If you're on a cruise ship, you don't have to plan a thing. But then if you go to the Bahamas, you have to find the place that you're going to stay, find a place that you're going to eat every night. What are you going to do? Find your excursions. It's keep it simple, stupid.
It's easy.
It is. It's really, really easy. You just have to get on the ship and then everything's done. So, yeah. I've been on, funny enough, Royal Caribbean. My kids, when I started investing for them, they wanted Royal Caribbean stock. And this was back at the lows of, 2021, 2022. So they've got Royal Caribbean in their accounts at like a cost basis of like 30 or something stupid like that.
And you were able to pick the right one simply because that's the one that you guys enjoy.
Yes, for kids especially. Nice. Besides Disney, Royal Caribbean is fantastic for families. Been on Princess, been on Holland America, Celebrity.
You always see them over there in Miami. There were some comments in the chat, like they're all headquartered in Miami, I think, right, JC? They're always sitting there.
Well, the port of Miami is
one of the ports,
is big,
huge.
I'm not talking about the DJ Khaled album. I'm talking about the actual port of Miami. Mary, big day today. I don't know if you heard, but we got a fresh batch of monthlies tonight.
Oh, we're not talking about the Powell.
Still not talking about the FOMC, I guess. But we are talking about the FOMC at 2:00.
We are going to be live. We're doing the live play-by-play of a one FOMC. That is the Federal Open Market Committee. Is that right?
Should we wear our jackets?
Ooh, fancy.
I'm going to put on a tuxedo.
Let's get fancy for it. I never thought I'd see the day.
I got my leg workout before that, so I'm going to be sweating. I'm not even going to be able to walk. Maggie's going to kick my ass.
Hilarious.
Listen, we always get action on Fed Day, right? So when we look at a lot of these charts and we talk about, the selling in AI, maybe this is an inflection point, right? Maybe this is where they dig in at these support levels and rebound higher. They've been selling these things for a while now.
I don't know why you guys keep changing the subject. I want to hear what Mary thinks about the monthly candles.
I'm not on.
Oh, well, I mean, you tell me. I haven't looked at the monthly candles, so I'm excited for the conference call that I know is going to take place tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah. So excited to see what you guys have to say about the show tomorrow, and then also for the premium members monthly conference call. I love the monthly conference call just because it's a great chance to take a big step back, look at the big picture, and then decide how we're going to go into the next quarter and the next back half of the year. So I always love the monthly conference call.
What are you YOLOing today, Mary?
I got excited when
By
I
the way,
saw
Mary, CMT level 3 candidate, Mary.
I got excited when I saw
Thank
some
you.
of your chart requests today.
Yeah. So last week, JC, you and I talked about Valero. So a week ago, it was the day before earnings, and it was right at that key level of support. And I said, JC, I'm kind of watching this one. Want to see what happens at earnings. And of course, the next day it was up. I got involved first thing just because, we held that support so nicely. Earnings were good. I got in. And so this has been a great winner so far for me. And hopefully those that were listening last week maybe got involved too. So the energy space, if we're going to see rotation out of large cap tech, might energy catch the bid? We continue to sit right there at those levels in XLE. Right at those kind of that area that we've kind of had our eyes on for a couple of years now. And, everything just seems to be holding in really well. I also look at OIH often. There's a nice 4 or 5 year channel of that we've just been trading back and forth and ascending channel. And I keep adding to that position when we're at the bottom of that channel, and it keeps rewarding me there as well. So energy, it continues to catch my attention.
I like where your head's
Valero
at.
was a great trade for me earlier in the year, and now I'm back in.
Listen, how long has it been that this whole sector has just been dead money, stuck in a sideways range, but they can't knock them down? I think
Right.
we got to be getting real close for energy out here.
So.
We're finally seeing some green candles in energy futures. Right? JC mentioned copper this morning. Bears had their chance to take down the commodity stocks over the past couple of weeks, didn't they?
Seems like it. Very true.
Yeah, Mary, I think you're spot on that Valero. I think you're spot on. What a move, and a bellwether of the space, of the refiners. ExxonMobil hanging in there. Energy on a relative basis, making new multi-month highs today.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're spot on, Mary.
Yep. And I love the
lower
VWAP
rates
that
is good for this, Strazza?
Yeah.
Sorry, Mary. Lower rates is
That's
good
okay.
for this?
I don't know. I really don't know. You would think not, but we'll see.
So on the other side of that coin, watching this move in AMD, you guys were talking about AMD earlier, looks exactly like an SMCI chart. And so, we were right down there again. And you guys have talked about this so many times. In a bull market, are we going to believe that these are topping patterns? And so, AMD is up now, I've got so many tickers on my screen, 10% today. All the semis catching a bid. And so I'm kind of waiting on AMD and, things like SMCI. I took SMCI early a couple of weeks ago and obviously got killed on that trade, took the loss. And so I'm looking to get some redemption on that one. But I'm going to wait for the Fed first to see what happens this afternoon. That's what my plan is.
Me too. I will not be putting on any trades until that is over. So Microsoft may not have impressed investors in its own right yesterday, but breathing fresh life into this AI trade, much needed too.
Yep.
All up this morning on Microsoft.
But you guys have kept me busy here the last several days with our clients.
Yeah.
So I haven't been doing a ton of trading. That Valero was really the one trade that I put on last week. Otherwise, I've had lots of conversations with our clients via phone, via email. We have lots going on in our space. And so, waiting for today's resolution with the Fed before I get more active and kind of where I'm going next with my trades.
I think that's wise.
Thanks.
Yen absolutely ripping today. U.S. Treasury bonds on the TLT making new 4-month highs as we speak. Yen bonds up. Stocks like that.
Listen, we love our friends over at Wisdom Tree, but I think you want the currency at this point. We've been saying for years it's DXJ over EWJ. I think that's starting to change here. No.
So you want to buy? So just to
want to be
those
long
who are unaware, EWJ is Japan price in U.S. dollars.
Yes. So
EXJ is Japan price in local currencies, which obviously has been doing great as that Japanese yen has gotten the crap kicked out of it. Do you really want to own Japan at all with a ripping yen, though? You feel me?
Yeah, I do. Look, the charts look good. Now the yen's starting to look good. Great question. Good point. But if you do want to invest in Japan, I think you take the yen. I think you want the yen exposure.
Dude, how about the fact that the Japanese Nikkei 225 index got back to those 1989 highs and stopped going up those 5 months ago? About that. So for those of you who wondering,
nobody remembers those old highs, JC.
Market does. And that's all that matters, doesn't it?
Polarity is real.
It's a great reminder, because we ask this question all the time. Is the market going to respect these levels from, I can't even count that far. How long has it been? 35 years? Is the market going to respect those levels? The answer is yes. The answer is yes. Wild. My guess was yes, but I didn't know. Like, it was like yes, but maybe not. It did. No?
No, yeah. Dude, I'm with you. That's why we look at charts.
Love it. All right, a little recess and we'll get going. Big day today.
Big day.
Why is it called the Federal Open Market Committee?
Not your guy.
Is there a committee for when the markets are closed? I don't know. How does that work?
It's for open market operations. You know that.
So what about the closed market operations? Is that a different committee?
It's not a thing.
It's not a thing. All right. And how long is this Powell guy going to be the guy? Is it like terms? Like, is there like an election? How does this
I think he stays on. I think he stays.
I guess it would depend sort of maybe who's in the White House, right? But
I have no idea.
The president
I
nominates.
assume that switches with the administrations. Yeah.
You think I could be the Federal Reserve chief? Is it?
No,
is
they're
that what it's
usually
called?
economists, JC.
What?
They're economists.
Usually people that, care.
Oh, so I have to be one of those in order to be. Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, no.
You wouldn't want that.
No,
Listen,
it's depressing.
Jerome Powell has been an excellent Fed chair. I think he's been fantastic.
He doesn't look like a Jerome. He looks like
No, he doesn't.
Tom.
So another thing I'll say just about the FOMC today is, remember, people, the market's fine. Earnings are growing. Breadth is expanding. More and more risk assets are in new uptrends every day. We don't need lower rates, right? Will it help all of our portfolios? I would imagine so, right? But we don't need lower rates. Things are good. The economy's firing on all cylinders. Things are getting better overseas. It shouldn't be, your bull thesis shouldn't rest on the fact that rates are coming down. We don't need that to be bullish right now.
Your bullish bond thesis should be based on that, though.
Always.
Yeah. So I'll start with the recess. They let me in the country club. So as Strazza is very excited. Strazza is very excited.
Got that text yesterday.
Strazza is more excited than I am. Strazza thinks I'm going to be like Rodney Dangerfield.
You already are. That's why it took so long. I'm coming to see
what
you.
a pain in the ass to be a member of this. It's like 100-year-old club. You gotta kiss ass to these old white guys. Like you gotta go through the process just so that we can use the pool. I don't even play golf. So, I'm going to play golf now because I got some nice golf courses.
So the golf
Strazza is going to come up here all the time now.
The golf course is on, now correct me, hopefully I'm going to say this right. It's on an old limestone quarry. It's built in an old,
I think it might be slate. It might be slate
quarry. You're right.
It might be slate. I'm not sure. My rock game is weak. I'm trying to step up my rock game.
The hills on this course. I mean, you remember the one hole that went way down and then like back up? It was like a swimming pool down there. Yeah. I play golf in Florida. It's very flat here.
Yeah, Flatlanders really like this particular course. It was built so that we have 3 18-hole courses and a 6-hole course. One of the 18-hole courses, it was built on a rock quarry. It used to be owned by Bethlehem Steel. And because Bethlehem Steel decided to pay people who no longer work there for the rest of their lives instead of investing in R&D, Bethlehem Steel no longer exists because this is capitalism, not communism, you see.
I
And
love-
so they lost this beautiful golf course that now I get to play out when Strazza comes.
I
Isn't that
really, as someone with an accounting background, I really appreciate it when you rant about pension liabilities. I really, I think it's fantastic.
How far does your head up need to be up your ass to want to pay people who haven't worked there in 30 years instead of investing in R&D?
JC, but you have no sympathy for them, right? Just to be clear.
This was among one of
the companies agreed to do this.
This was among one of the.
No, I'm glad they blew themselves up because now I get to play in that
all
court.
time.
Right.
Yeah.
These companies buried themselves alive.
That's the way it was. 401k wasn't a thing.
Shouldn't have been. Never should have been.
Dude, Bethlehem Steel is now a casino with a steakhouse. I saw Jerry Seinfeld there. Like, I'm all for Bethlehem Steel blowing themselves up. Like, it is way better for me that it is now an arts and entertainment center as opposed to this industrial smoky thing. You know?
All right. Mary, cheer us up here. What do you got for recess?
Did you get my pictures?
Yep. Yeah, they're in
Okay.
here somewhere. Yep. Where are they?
So we have just in the town to the north of us in Grand Haven this week is the Coast Guard Festival. They are known as Coast Guard USA. And so this is such a great festival here in Michigan. They bring in several Coast Guard ships. I believe there are 5 in
That's a lake
right now.
That's a lake.
The channel. That's Lake Michigan right behind.
How they get these big boats in there? The boats are huge.
Through all the channels and the Great Lakes connect. So anyway, so we've got 4 Coast Guard ships up in Grand Haven, plus one that came in from Canada. So it's really cool. They do this big parade of the boats as they come in, and they put on their water cannons, like in this picture, and then all week you can go onto the Coast Guard boats for tours. There's concerts. There's a big parade, big fireworks. It's just a really fun event. My kids were there on Monday when the boats came in with their grandparents. The whole family just jumped on the boat again this morning, our boat, and they're on Lake Michigan right now, driving up there just to spend the day up in Grand Haven for the Coast Guard Festival. So, and I'm here with you guys working.
Super cool.
So it's just a really fun event. If you're ever in Michigan in the summer, make sure you check out the Grand Haven Coast Guard Festival.
Congratulations to Simone Biles and the USA Lady Gymnast team.
And shout out to the U.S. Women's Rugby Sevens team. I don't know if you saw this, but they won at the buzzer yesterday. At the buzzer to win the bronze. Woo. I don't even know the rules of that sport, and it was exciting.
Who's winning the gold medal count? They're not.
U.S. is not winning the gold. They're winning. The U.S. is winning the overall medal count, but they're not winning the gold medal count. I don't know who that is right now. But I know it's not the U.S.
Why don't they show it like a scoreboard on the TV?
They do.
Is it like humans adjusted? Like, can we adjust the amount of medals relative to how many people are representing that country? Like we're leading the medal count, but don't we have the most amount of people also?
Yes.
So isn't it like a little bit?
Yeah. Denominator bias. Yeah.
Denominator bias, right?
Sure.
So my buddy told me yesterday, LeBron James is the wealthiest athlete to ever play in the Olympics because he's a billionaire. And I said, that's not true. He's not, because you would have to inflation adjust that number, right?
So who is?
I don't know. But you can't say that.
Yes, you can.
I don't think so.
Yes, you can.
Jordan didn't
Jesse Owens wasn't a billionaire, bro.
Jordan didn't have more money in yesterday's terms.
No, Jordan was in his 20s, dude. Jordan was not a billionaire. Jordan made all his money after basketball.
You didn't have to be a billionaire back then. A couple $100 million probably made you a billionaire in today's money. Yeah.
I am interested.
I get what you're saying. The answer is no.
You can't just say LeBron James is the wealthiest athlete ever to play in the Olympics. I don't think that's
yes,
true.
You can.
It's probably true. It's probably true.
Say that.
I am interested in this athlete adjusted, population adjusted medal count though. That'd be interesting. Probably some European country. I don't know. All right.
I'm curious, what's everyone's favorite Summer Olympic sport to watch?
Oh, gosh. It's like
I had to pick one.
I really like beach volleyball. I think the beach volleyball is a blast.
I like
beach volleyball is really good. I love like the sprint, like the 100-meter dash or the 800 meters I love all the track and field races.
I love the kayaking one where they're
part of it.
going down the rapids. That looks intense.
Yeah, I was watching a little bit of that over the weekend.
Is that just called rafting?
They're in a kayak, but yeah.
Yeah, there's two different. There's canoeing and there's kayaking, right? It's different.
I understand there's a big game tonight, men's basketball, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot all about that. That's right. Yeah. Big day for us today, though, on the channel. So normally on Wednesday we do the morning show and then we do some stuff for our members later on, and that's pretty much it. But today, of course, FOMC day, so we will be doing a special stream at 2 o'clock Eastern time right here on the channel. Come hang out with us. We'll be talking about what the Fed did or didn't do, and how the more importantly, how the markets react, right? Because that's actually what matters.
I was going to say, we're not going to be talking about what the Fed thinks. We're going to be talking about the market things.
The market. Sorry. So right here on the channel, on YouTube, 2 o'clock. We'll see you there. And that's what I have to say. So thanks to Willie Delwiche for hanging out. Thanks to Mary. Thanks to Kenny. A lot of good stuff today. A lot going on. Fast market. We'll see you later.
Baseball will be back as an Olympic sport in 2028 because the country where the Olympics are gets to choose which sports. So as America chose to have baseball, and the Parisians, because they suck at baseball, they said no.
Is this true?
I mean, how many French people are in the Baseball Hall of Fame? I mean, come on.
He said no to baseball. See what I'm talking about?
They're kind of communist, the Parisians.
Shame.
I know.
But they make great wine.
They don't make shit. They drink it. They don't make it shit wine in Paris. That's where the nice people live, out in wine country.
France in general.
They make croissants there. A lot of croissants.
All right.
Adios.
Peace and love.